Hey, what's good, everyone? It's LP back with another video. And so for this video, I wanted to compare the size of the Fujifilm X100VI with the size of the Sony A6700 and the A6400. The reason why I wanted to do this is because if you're someone who is doing research on maybe what camera to buy, maybe it's your first camera, or maybe you have an older camera like a DSLR, or maybe like some type of small sensor point and shoot, and you're thinking about getting a more modern advanced camera, then I think these are going to be some great choices for you. When I first bought my first mirrorless camera last year, I actually went with the Sony ZV-E10, but I quickly upgraded that to the Sony A6700 because I wanted the viewfinder. So of course, with that being said, the Fuji hit my radar, and of course it caught my eye, right? As someone that shoots street photography and wanted something that was small that I can just put in my sling and not have to worry about changing lenses or anything like that. But the problem was is I couldn't buy it. So I started looking for alternatives. Even though I already had this A6700, which is a beast. I mean, it does everything you could possibly want it to do. It has the AI autofocus. It has a huge battery. It gives you insane video and stills quality. I still wanted something that was a little bit smaller because for me, although I love this camera and it's not that big in the grand scheme of things, just this grip is just a little too chunky for my taste. Although I don't have small hands by any means, it's just I prefer the smaller grips. And so that's when I eventually landed on the A6400, and man, I really love this camera. As someone that may be sort of debating between these two, if you don't really care about video like that, just get the A6400. I mean, the pictures are great from it. It's 2 less megapixels than the A6700, but I mean, it's smaller. You still get the flip up screen, which I like, compared to the flip out screen on the A6700. So with that being said, going back to the X100VI, right? A lot of people are looking for alternatives because it's hard to get, and also the size. So let's look at the size. I haven't seen very many comparisons on YouTube that compare the size of these cameras. So I'm going to put the A6400 to the side for a second, and then we're just going to look at the A6700 and the X100 against each other. So as you can see here, they're actually quite similar in size. The thing that makes it feel different in the hand is going to be the grip. Honestly, like, I think if this didn't have such a big grip and it had the grip of the A6400, this would probably be the perfect camera for me, to be honest. But the grip kind of kills it for me. It's kind of interesting because the full frame versions of these, so the A7C2 and the A7CR, have a smaller grip. With those, you have to pay more for lenses, right? Because it's full frame. So anyway, looking at the size, they're very similar in size. If I flip them kind of lens facing down, you can see that the X100VI is actually taller and wider. But the reason why it feels so much smaller in the hands, again, is because of the grip. Obviously, the lens is going to stick out more on the A6700, depending on what kind of lens you put on it. So this is a fixed lens on the Fuji. It sticks out this much. On here, I think I have the smallest, fastest f1.8 lens you can get on Sony E-mount. This is the SG Image 25mm f1.8 autofocus lens. There are other lenses like the TT Artisan 27 f2.8, which are smaller, but again, it doesn't let in as much light compared to this one. This is why I like this lens. It's way smaller compared to the Viltrox Air, and so I'll be doing a comparison on those lenses in a different video. But so as you can see, they're pretty similar in size. Again, it's really just the grip that makes the biggest difference. So that's the A6700. So what I would say is, if you're someone that's maybe debating between these two cameras and you want the better autofocus on the Sony and you want interchangeable lenses, then I would say get the A6700 over the X100VI. That's just sort of my opinion, because I think that you wouldn't be happy with this because it's harder to hold and you can't change the lenses and the autofocus isn't as good. Okay, so that's the A6700. Now let me bring the A6400 in. So here's the A6400. This camera is smaller than the X100VI. Let me move this out of the way for a sec. So again, I'm gonna flip them lens face down. As you can see, the A6700 is shorter width-wise and also height-wise. That's pretty cool. And then, you know, when it comes to the lens, depending on the lens, it'll be shorter in terms of how much that lens protrudes. So on this A6700, which I had been using as my EDC, I have the Viltrox chip lens. So this is the 28mm f4.5 lens. So really it's just good for outside. But I mean, come on. This lens is so small, you could just throw it in your sling, call it a day. I mean, so if you're someone, again, that's looking for an alternative to the X100VI, I would maybe take a strong look at the Sony A6400. I say the A6400 because you can still buy these new if you wanted to, right? Sony still makes this brand new along with the A6700. This is only 2 years old. You get a lot of the same features in this camera as you do the X100VI. So they both have flip up screens. See, check it out. They're both small. You can throw them in your sling, you know, in your coat pocket, your hoodie pocket. They both have flashes. So this is the flash here on the A6400. So there's no battery in it. Let me throw a battery in it real quick just to show you. It's a pop-up flash. So check it out. See, so there you go. You can tilt it too, so that's pretty cool. You can't do that on the X100VI. So there you have that. So they both have flashes. The X100VI has in-body image stabilization. The A6400 does not. However, the A6500 does have IBIS and it has a flash, but it's a little bit older, so the autofocus isn't as good as the A6400. I would say the autofocus on the A6400 is better than the Fuji X100VI. I personally haven't used the Sony A6500, which is older than this camera, so I can't speak to the autofocus on that one, but I would imagine it's not going to be any worse than the Fuji. But again, I think once you set the Fuji up a certain way, it's going to definitely depend on your shooting style. Okay, so going back, when you look at these sizes, this A6400 is the smallest out of the three. So let me go ahead and bring the A6700 back in. So there you go. Here are all three. Again, I just wanted to quickly show the size difference between these because I really hadn't seen any videos comparing the size of them. I mean, there's tons of videos where you can look at the sample images from some of them. I think I maybe only watched one video that had a comparison between the A6700 and the X100VI. I didn't see any with the A6400. But there you have it, right? Like, I think both of these cameras are great alternatives to this X100VI if that's what you're looking for. I mean, I truly think the best alternatives to this camera are going to be the older versions of this camera, specifically the X100V or the 5. However, if you want Sony, you want that autofocus, you want interchangeable lenses, then I think these are the way to go. I mean, I truly do. For what I do, I'm just a hobbyist. I just shoot street. I don't think I'm going to be needing all three of these cameras anymore. And so I think because I value a compact size over anything else, I will most likely end up selling the A6700 just because I don't like the grip. I know it sounds crazy. I'm giving up the AI autofocus and the better video quality and the 26 megapixels, but I think for what I do, these two cameras will have me covered, and hopefully I'll be okay with that and I don't get bit by the gas bug again. So with that being said, hopefully you found this video helpful. All these cameras are compact. The A6400 being the smallest, the X106 in the middle, and the A6700 is bigger just because of the deeper grip. But again, hopefully you like this video. Let me know which camera you would go with in the comments. And until next time, take it easy.